850 Armor Works here, and today we're going to wrap up the assembly of the TankDriver chest and back with all the fine details. I'm going to go over all the parts, and some of the parts will coincide with things that we've done before. So we'll talk about it as we go. First thing up is going to be the installation of the back boxes. If you may have seen in some other videos, we've used Simple Green and water to clean off some of the residual mold release that was left on it. So we recommend doing that, towel drying, and making sure that they are completely dry before you start working on them again. We'll do a little cleanup around the edges and some sanding. We have the gorget piece that goes in the front collar. It's quick and simple. Then we have the side wings. Quick pencil mark, and we glue them in place, and they should be good to go. We also have the option to leave them separate, paint them separate, and glue them after painting, so keep that in mind when you're doing your build as well, plus your actual need to have them if you happen to be a skinnier person than some of us heftier guys. We're going to start with the back boxes, and you can see how they are trimmed around and have a nice square block. In previous videos that we had already cut out these using the Dremel tool, and they've been cleaned up since just using various sandpapers. I'd really recommend the best thing to do is to block sand to be sure everything is nice and flat. We also want to sand the inside to try to make sure that we are as even as possible. Whenever we drop these boxes in, they will glue around the outside edge. We're going to still sand around that outside edge using the palm sander in a moment. Since we're in the middle of sanding, let's just go ahead and get all the sanding done. Go. Those are nice and sanded. If you want to come behind it and smooth it out further, you can use various grit ranges from 120, 150 to 220. I grabbed our 220 right here, and that's fine. We'll go ahead and sand on the inside a little bit more on all the insides just to ensure we have a good tooth for the boxes to glue into. We want to remove any kind of shininess that you see from the plastic, and that's what actually gives it the tooth so it can glue in. You really only want to do this once if you can help it. There are other methods to installing the back boxes. You don't necessarily have to glue the back boxes down from the inside. What I've done before is taken scrap pieces of plastic and made L brackets and locked them in with tabs and still had them set with glue in various points. So, personal preference, you don't have to do it this way. There are a million and one ways to build a set of armor. And it's very smooth to the finger touch. No rough edges. A few minor burrs up here I'd like to get rid of while we have access to it. And now we can move on to cleaning up the back boxes. There's some 80 grit loaded in the palm sander here, and all I'm going to do for this phase of the cleanup is sand around the edge. Let's see if we can get a good shot of it. Conversely, you could sandpaper it by hand if you don't have a palm sander, but if you're putting armor together, you really need to. What we're sanding off here is basically what you can see are the 3D print lines versus the smooth plastic, plus after it's been sanded, plus it will make a nice little tooth for it to glue onto. So that's all we're doing here. So we have all the edges sanded. We have our tooth on the other side. We will need to check our reference material just to be sure that we know which one's the left and which one's the right. Always double check that. It is circle on the wearing right hand side. So we'll test fit that one first. Just kind of notches into place. It's real easy to deal with. And then flip it back over and do any alignment that you may need to do. This is a really clean set right here. It seemed to kind of fall into place. So I'm going to keep applying pressure, and we are going to get some dabs of super glue in place. Just to tack it first. Okay, that side's had time to set. Like doing this on as flat of a surface as possible so you can apply the pressure down with your hand. This is an awkward angle to do this from. I'm basically letting it run pretty heavy and attacking it immediately with the accelerator. After you let it set for a few seconds, don't try to jostle it yet. See where you are. Okay, it made some good adhesion. So now we can build it up a bit from there. Let's first check to make sure nothing ran through the other side. All right, everything looks clean and clear. We can commence with gluing. Another option at this point is also to take a scrap piece of plastic, and you can level it up from the inside to alleviate this gap. If you want to glue that in there, it'll make it more flush mounted. For now, we're just going to continue pressing down, applying super glue, and hitting with accelerator. We're just building up a wall. Very good. That feels pretty solid. We're going to shore up the corner that we first glued, and this is likely sufficient to hold all of this in place. There we go. The first back box is installed. We'll move on to the second one, following the same procedure. Once you feel it's in good alignment, keep your pressure on it and bring it to the flat surface. choose the closest spot to be able to glue from. Even got a bit on the corner over here. I always like doing opposing corners whenever you can. That helps with alignment. May be hard to actually get in here. I'm trying to do this top corner. I don't know if I can get a good camera angle on it, but you should be able to get the drift. We've already got a really good and solid connection here. Repeating the procedure, same as before. Now we're going to hit the other opposing corners. It's aligned, it's ready to go, and it's just, securing the final piece in. It's really locked down tight here. So that will complete the back box installation.